Kindness can sometimes feel like a rare thing, but every once in a while, a story surfaces that reminds us of its quiet power. Morgan Freeman, the legendary actor known for his wise and commanding voice, did just that one evening in a way that touched everyone who happened to be in the same place. The incident happened in a KFC, of all places, a casual setting where no one expected something extraordinary. What unfolded showed that compassion knows no boundaries and can emerge when least expected, even from someone whose career is built on powerful performances rather than public displays of personal generosity. It was a cold evening, one of those nights when people stopped quickly at the counter to grab hot food before retreating home. The smell of fried chicken filled the air, and the constant shuffle of customers created a familiar, ordinary buzz. Freeman walked in quietly, dressed in the kind of understated clothing that helped him blend into a crowd, though his unmistakable presence could never really be hidden. A soft cap was pulled low on his head, and his eyes were shielded by dark glasses, an effort to avoid recognition. He wasn't there to make a scene or to draw attention. He was simply another person waiting to order his meal. As he made his way toward the counter, he noticed two young boys tucked into the corner of the restaurant. They couldn't have been older than 13 and 9. Their clothing was thin, hardly enough to keep away the chill of the night. Freeman paid little attention at first, but then a faint whisper drifted toward him. Something in their hushed conversation caught his ear, and it made him pause mid-step. It wasn't just idle chatter, it was worry, mixed with hunger. Curiosity and concern overcame him, and instead of ignoring them, Freeman shifted his attention. The boys noticed his movement and froze, uncertain of who this stranger was. Their nervous smiles and polite greeting gave away their unease, but Freeman responded with a gentle smile that eased some of their tension. He asked a few quiet questions, nothing intrusive, just enough to understand what had made them sound so concerned. It turned out the two had been left at the restaurant with the task of raising a bit of money by selling homemade desserts. They were trying to support their local church, bringing what little they could from home to offer. Freeman was moved, not just by their determination, but by the sight of how weary they looked. They admitted that they hadn't eaten dinner. In fact, they hadn't even had lunch that day. Their eyes lingered on the counter where other customers picked up hot meals, but they stood empty-handed. Most people in Freeman's position might have given them a few words of encouragement or perhaps slipped them some money if they happened to have it, but he didn't want to stop there. He knew the kids needed more than a compliment or a quick handout, so he quietly invited them to come with him to the counter. With that same calm demeanor the world has come to associate with him, Freeman insisted that they order whatever they wanted. The boys, shocked and delighted, hesitated at first, but when he reassured them that dinner was on him, their faces lit up with genuine excitement. At that moment, he removed his glasses and cap, and suddenly, the realization rippled through the restaurant. It wasn't just any man standing at the counter with these kids. It was Morgan Freeman. The recognition spread like a wave. For a moment, the restaurant went silent, then whispers and gasps filled the air as customers realized what they were witnessing. Here was one of the most respected figures in Hollywood, known for playing roles of wisdom and gravitas, standing at a fast food counter making sure two hungry boys had a meal. Phones came out, people began filming, and within minutes, the entire mood of the restaurant shifted. What began as an ordinary evening turned into an unforgettable display of kindness. The children, full of joy, danced around a little as they placed their orders. Freeman watched them with patience and a smile, making small talk and asking about their church. His questions weren't performative, he seemed genuinely interested in hearing what they had to say. Onlookers were struck not only by the gesture itself, but by how natural it seemed for him. There was no trace of self-importance, no hint that he was doing it for attention. It was as though compassion was second nature to him. The boys ate happily, but the story did not stay contained within those four walls. The people who had witnessed the scene uploaded the videos online, writing captions about what they had just experienced. Almost instantly, the footage spread across social media and the internet, lit up with admiration. Thousands of people reacted, shared, and commented, many expressing surprise that someone of Freeman's stature would go so far out of his way for two children he had never met. For many, it was a reminder. As the story circulated, others began sharing their own experiences, not only with Freeman, but with different celebrities who had quietly shown them compassion. Some recounted how strangers had stepped in during their toughest times with small acts of help that meant more than words could describe. What happened in that KFC had sparked more than admiration. It created a wave of reflection, pushing people to remember the importance of community and empathy. For Freeman, this was not an isolated moment. In fact, the more people discussed it, the more they uncovered about his history of giving. While the public primarily knows him as an actor whose voice can command attention, in films and narrations, Freeman has long been involved in philanthropy. He has supported numerous charitable causes, from disaster relief to education initiatives, often without seeking credit. His foundation has contributed to efforts in Mississippi, his home state, and beyond, helping fund scholarships and relief programs. He has also worked quietly with organizations supporting children in need, both in the United States and internationally. Those who know him best often say that Morgan Freeman's greatest quality isn't his voice or his acting talent, but his ability to make people feel seen and valued. The KFC moment was just one more piece of evidence. The way he crouched slightly to speak at the children's level, the time he took to listen, and the respect he showed them, all of it added up to a display of humanity that was deeply moving for those present. The videos continued to spread, landing not just on social media feeds, but also on television talk shows and news headlines. What stood out most to commentators was how consistent this act seemed with the kind of man Freeman has always been. Unlike others who might orchestrate grand philanthropic gestures for publicity, he has built a reputation for doing good quietly. That night, however, his private compassion happened to spill into a public setting, and the world got a glimpse of it. The two boys later gave a short interview, and their words echoed what so many felt. The older of the two said the experience inspired him to help people whenever he could, even in small ways. The younger admitted he hadn't known who Freeman was at first, but that he would never forget the kindness shown to them. For them, it wasn't about meeting a famous actor. It was about someone stepping in when they needed help most. In the end, the incident grew into something larger than one evening at a fast food restaurant. It reminded people everywhere that kindness does not have to be complicated. It can be as simple as noticing someone in need and choosing to do something about it. Freeman's actions showed that compassion can ripple outward, touching not only the immediate recipients, but also the countless others who hear about it. The internet buzz eventually slowed, but the impression remained. People continued sharing the clip, some using it as motivation to perform their own small acts of kindness. The restaurant employees who had been working that evening said later that they had never seen the mood of the place change so quickly, describing it as if a heavy weight had been lifted, replaced by warmth and unity. Morgan Freeman has played countless roles on screen, portraying men of power, wisdom, and dignity. But on that night, his role was simply that of a man who chose to listen, who paused long enough to notice two hungry children, and who acted with generosity. That role, though unscripted, may be one of his most powerful yet. The story leaves us with a simple truth: we should never underestimate what a small act of kindness can mean. For those two boys, it was more than just a hot meal. It was a memory they will carry forever. For those who watched, it was a reminder of what humanity can look like at its best. And for the thousands who read about it afterward, it was an invitation to do the same in their own lives.